Welcome to part 3 of our guide on how to use your first studio flash. On the previous workshops, we showcased how to look at light falling across the face using a balloon, an egg, and a mannequin head. And on the last workshop, we showcased what settings you need to put into your camera. I want to be setting my camera up to manual mode so that I can completely control the exposure triangle within the settings of the camera, and how this little transmitter will talk to the flash unit itself. Now it's time to take our first portrait and look at how we can use light to start making impactful portraits. Let's take a mini dive. So our light here is the Elinchrom 3, and we've turned the power on and set the power to 3.0, which is halfway in the range of that power that the light can put out. That gives us a little bit of leeway up or down depending on the overall exposure. And getting the exposure right is the first thing that we need to do to start taking great pictures. What we're going to do is we're going to turn on the modeling light in this unit just by hitting the little sundial sensor on the back there, just so that we can see when we move the light across the face, we can see exactly where it's falling across the face, which is going to give us a really good guide. I'm going to turn our little head this way, and we're going to shoot this way towards it so that we've got this white polystyrene backdrop as a backdrop, but you can use any wall. One of the important things when we start taking portraits is we're sometimes so focused on the face and the way that light falls across the face and interacting with people that we forget about the backdrop. And keeping a backdrop clean and simple is one of the ways to minimize distractions and draw attention onto the face. So always try and work with a clean backdrop as much as we possibly can. For the first portrait here, we're just going to bring the light up and we're going to angle it very slightly down onto the subject here, and we're going to try and shoot just underneath the softbox here with our camera. But before we take a picture with the light in this position, I'm just going to take the transmitter off the top of the camera here, and I'm just going to take a picture without the transmitter on at all, trying to fill the frame as much as possible and using the focus button to keep the image sharp. And by taking that picture there, I can see that it's completely blank, completely dark, and that means that at these settings none of the ambient light in this room is affecting the portrait. That means that only the light coming out of this softbox from this flash unit will be the light affecting the portrait, and that gives me complete control. So if something's going wrong, then I know I need to adjust it either with the power settings of the light, the position of the light, or the settings that I've dialed into the camera, but no other light is going to affect this portrait. So with the light in this position, right in front of the mannequin head here, we're just going to come down and underneath and just take our first portrait here with a nice filled frame. And there we see an image come through on the back of the camera that's really brightly lit. If we bring up the histogram there, we can see that there are lots of peaks on the right hand side, which means there's a super bright image, and we may want to bring down our exposure by 2/3 of a stop, maybe a stop. So we're going to try and bring it down by a stop here using two settings. We're going to do it two different ways. The first way that we're going to do it is we're going to move the aperture. We're going to move the aperture up from our f8 to f11 by a full stop, closing that aperture, allowing less light to come into that digital back. The power settings on this light are going to be exactly the same. Just going to take this shot here, and there we see we have a much less brightly exposed picture with the histogram sitting much more evenly across the whole range. The histogram is your guide as to how the shadows and the highlights are working within the tonality of the entire image. If you get peaks on one end or peaks on the other end, that means your image is either too dark or too bright, and it's a really good guide in camera as to how your exposure is going. Now the second way, if we want to stay at f8, and I'm going to bring my settings back down now to f8, the second way that I can adjust the exposure is by adjusting the exposure of this light. And by using this Elinchrom unit, I can just drag down by a full stop from 2.9 to 1.9 the power of this flash. The flash has now come down by a power of a full stop. Just going to hit my flash unit there just to release a flash of power. That's force of habit from back in the early 2000s when flash units used to store a unit of power. Just like to make sure that we're fully recycled and fully refreshed. If we take this image first of all at f11, which was the settings we had before, we can see now that that image has gone even darker than the last image that we took. So by moving that back to f8, we should get an image that is the same exposure as the one when we first adjusted. Now I'm quite happy with these settings and I'm quite happy with these power settings, and by using a smaller flash power in this unit, it's going to help the battery life. It's going to use the battery life far less. So I'm quite happy we're only using a comparatively smaller power coming out of that unit there. Now I'm going to start to experiment by moving this light round to the side, 45 degrees round from the face, and we're just going to see what impact that has on the shape of the light here. And look at that difference. Big shadows on the right-hand side of the face as we look at it, and we're starting to get tonality through the image. By moving it around 45 degrees even further, we should get real tonality, almost split lighting in this shot here, with a lot more of that face in darkness there. Now the key thing to this is we can also start to turn the head. So if we turn the head 45 degrees this way into a profile and have a look at how that looks with this lighting setup here, and then bring the light round this way to more of a 45 degree setting, we should see a much flatter form of light there. And these tiny little adjustments are what you can practice on so that we can get more comfortable with the light and more comfortable with the way that it shapes the face. By moving it around to a really extreme example here, we can see the first element of rim lighting that we should be getting on the subject here. And we get real specular highlights and something that's completely at odds with the last much flatter image that we took. And we can now just start to move the face here 45 degrees this way and see how that really catches that triangle of light just underneath that near side eye. This is a really, really good way for you to get used to the light, used to the way it works, used to having a camera in hand, used to framing everything before we work on a real person. Feels odd saying that. One last thing we need to remember when we're looking at this is the difference that distance will make in our portrait. Now, if we start off with our light here, we know that from this distance, this is where we were a few shots back, that we're going to have good control and good shadow on that side of the face there, again giving us depth, giving us tonality. If we move the light further away from our subject here, but still keeping it in that same position, and just see what effect that has by moving it about a meter back there, we'll see that the whole image has gone darker. Foreground and background have gone a lot darker, and it's also changed the quality of light across the face. And by moving the light even closer here, and just by bringing the light down slightly, we're super close to our subject here, and just getting underneath the light here, we see that we have a super bright subject with a different fall off of light from highlight to shade. Now, these tiny little differences have cause and effect, and as I always say in all of my workshops on this channel, there's no such thing as good or bad photography. There's no such thing as right or wrong photography. There's just cause and effect. Every time you pose the face in a different way, it's going to have a different effect of the quality of light going across the face, the direction of light going across the face, and therefore the mood of your portrait. By practicing with your settings, and by practicing with moving the light closer and moving it further away, and adjusting settings of your flashlights and adjusting settings in camera, it's going to get you more comfortable with the functionality and the way that light works. This is where we're starting with our building blocks on how to use strobe photography. And after 22 years of working in this industry, I'm still finding different ways to use a single light source to create some of my most impactful and some of my most popular and powerful portraits. So it's something that you can get your hands on and get to grips with on day one. but hopefully it's something that will keep fascinating you and keep you in love with photography moving years and years forward. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this content, you can like and subscribe and watch way more videos on using flash and strobe lighting within a space like this. Or you can go to my website, NoFussMuss.com, where you can download a free posing guide. And you can also download our 1 light, our 2 light, and our 3 light tutorials and courses to expand your learning in flash photography. Thank you very much for watching. All the very best.